Well, hello everyone. Welcome and thank you for tuning in to Just Bleed Radio. Today is Sunday, the 14th of July, 2024, and this is not the weekend roundup. Instead, for your entertainment pleasure, we give you the Just Bleed Radio preview show for the Ultimate Fighting Championship 304. Now, play the music, please, Maestro. Hello, I'm your host, DangerMouse, and today we will be giving our predictions for the upcoming Ultimate Fighting Championship in Manchester, England, which is being shown at some ungodly hour of the morning here in the United Kingdom. Apparently, because this was a card originally booked for Salt Lake City, and the UFC could not change the times because of some prior agreement. Ah well, I suppose I will just have to, how do you say, suck it up and watch another main event at 5:30 in the morning. Or will I? Anyway, this is quite enough of my complaining. It is time for me to introduce my companions and fellow enthusiasts in the arts mixed martial. The first, and dare I quote the Bard of Avon, is a fellow of infinite jest. He hails from the state of Ohio in the United States of America, which I must belatedly congratulate on its recent 247th birthday. Well done, chaps. Now, where was I? Ah, yes, my most frequent co-host, Lazybed. Hello, sir. How are you?
Oh, what's up, guys? Shout out Cody Brundage, you're a bitch. Shout out Charles Johnson, you're a weight bully. And shout out Jasmine Jasdavicius, you're a dirty, filthy cheat.
Splendid. Now, to our resident expert, both in the slaying of vermin and his knowledge of the Ultimate Fighting Championship. He resides in the 31st state of America. That's California, just in case anyone else is wondering. He goes by the moniker of No Special, but we mostly call him Austin, because that is his name after all. Hello, sir. How are you?
Yes, I'm good when my state is not on fire, and also, things happening around the house, mayhem and whatnot. It was nice to get back to just some fights, and the one that we're going to be talking about for the preview here is something I've been relatively excited for too. Yeah, I'm good. Okay, I'm good. Considering.
Splendid. Splendid. We thought this would take us a lot longer, but we are now very close to 100 subscribers. So if you are listening and you are still not subscribed, please do. It costs you nothing, and we would greatly appreciate it. Today we shall be going through the main card for Ultimate Fighting Championship 304 from bottom to top. As you may have noticed from the introduction, we are recording this almost 2 weeks away from the event, but we have decided to get an early predictions video out for you bleeders. So let's get on with it. First up we have, fighting at featherweight, Arnold Allen versus Giga Chikadze. And now normal service is resumed. I hope, guys, how are we doing?
Oh,
That was
always
good.
fucking.
I'm not gonna
Oh,
lie.
yeah. I always love it when Danger Mouse goes all, proper fucking British on her asses. I love it.
I try my best. All right, which one of you two bleeders wants to take this away on this one? We haven't discussed who goes
You want to
first.
go, Lazy?
Yeah, I could go first. I can go first. Well, let's just get right into it then. I do have a feeling that we got ourselves an absolute treat here, guys. Total fucking banger possible. Fucking obviously both these guys are phenomenal fighters. Giga we haven't seen in a little while. Arnold's been a bit more active, but all in all, just two fucking phenomenal fighters at featherweight. I'm very much looking forward to this one. Yeah, I happen to really like both these guys, but neither is the most well-spoken or polished on the microphone, but goddamn do they make up for it with their fighting styles. Giga, of course, a hell of a kickboxer, devastating attacks with the lower body. Arnold, certainly more of a boxing-centric style, but with a far more well-rounded skill set, I would say. This one ought to give a Triple A slight advantage with that skill set. So, should he choose to utilize all of his tools, I do think he's got better odds at winning this one. But I really think he's going to be more than content to stand and bang with Giga, which could spell trouble. Allen does have 2 losses in the UFC, but those are to Holloway and Evloev, both by decision. So I can't see putting Chikadze quite on that level just yet. Um, now and likely never in his career, if I'm going to be honest. I don't think Giga has what it takes to be on in the upper echelon of the featherweight division. I think if the Almighty One can drain Giga's gas tank, I could see a possible TKO finish here, but I don't know if I'd put any of my hard-earned cash on it. So I guess that means give me Arnold Allen in this one, but I'm gonna go with the decision. So yeah, give me the Almighty by UD.
Ooh.
Okay. Austin?
All right. There's a lot of doubt right now against my man Arnold Allen. Almighty is his nickname, and
Good nickname.
it's a good nickname. And realistically, like he reminds me a lot of that dude who's just not great at any one particular thing, but he's just great at everything. A well-rounded bloke who just likes to just scrap, and he scraps, man. I mean, hell, if you watched him fight Max Holloway, he gave Max Holloway a good run for his money. He was obviously losing at points of the fight, but he stayed in there, regardless of that last minute drop in the 5th. And even when he lost to Mozar Evloev, and like he put it on him, regardless of whether or not you want to argue Dana's point, because Dana's a fucking idiot, calling it like, oh, I don't like that fight, fucking dumbass. 2 high level fucking featherweights just putting it out there, leaving it all on the fucking ring, But no, of course not. Dana doesn't remember who the fuck the guys are, so why would he care? Anywho, that's neither here nor there. Arnold is that dude who's just able to adapt, adjust, and just keep fighting regardless of where he's, at in the fight score-wise. He's not going to go away anytime soon. Giga, on the other hand, only wins against the guys he knows he can absolutely beat. I mean, the minute you start getting momentum on him and he can't figure you out, he starts to kind of slow down and lose. There's certain guys that kind of push him and keep him kind of on the back foot, and he tends to unload big, heavy shots and just keep you guessing, more or less. The minute he kind of gets your timing, it's kind of a game over situation, kind of like how it was for him and the gentleman who I'm forgetting right now, and I'm going to get crucified in the comments for forgetting his name.
Caceres?
No, not Caceres. The other gentleman. God damn it! This is embarrassing for me. Please, for the love of God, who's the Edson Barbosa? Edson Barbosa. I can't believe I forgot that goddamn name. That's gonna bug me for the rest of my life for now. No, I know, but like most of this fight is going to be contested on the feet. Allen's not going to go looking for a takedown right off the bat. If he could give the pressure he should without giving too much space, he should win this fight. I don't know if it's going to be super exciting, but I'm going to take Allen. Like, Lazy said, I'm going to take it by a split decision, because of course it would be.
Okay. Yeah, obviously I'm not going to try and outdo Austin on this kind of stuff. His background knowledge is far better than mine. I'm just looking at them both. We've got an age difference, 5 years for Giga. He's 35 years old. We all know that's never a good sign for the lighter weight fighters. Obviously, we're not talking belts here, so we don't have that official stat involved. He also has the 4-inch reach advantage over Allen, which could make a difference if we do get into a fairly stand-up kind of bout. And I think, as you both do, I think there's going to be a lot of striking in this one. We might see Allen take it to the ground, but it won't be any surprise to anyone really today that I'm going to pick Arnold Allen in this opening fight for the bout. Hopefully they'll get it off to a good start and wake the crowd up in Manchester, because I think it's going to be starting at 3 a.m. in the morning or somewhere around there. So there will either be a lot of very tired or very drunk Mancunians in that place. Probably both, to be fair, knowing the Manchester lot.
Is he from Manchester?
No, well, he fight. No, he's born in Suffolk. I have his thing up here, so no, definitely that's a long way away from Manchester. It's
Okay, I was gonna say.
far too posh for Manchester. Speaks more like I did at the start of the show than than Michael Bisping or someone like that.
I was gonna say something.
So what you like. We can always edit.
Apparently born in Ipswich, England, wherever Ipswich is.
All right, yeah, Ipswich. I know Ipswich. It's one of the hardest places to get to in the UK, which is not a bad thing because no one really wants to go to Ipswich anyway.
Shout out Ipswich, we love you.
I don't, and I've been there, so
Been there, done that.
yeah. It has no motorways going to it. That's why no one ever goes there. One of those places it takes hours to get to, even if you go by all the major roads.
So that explains Pacer Allen's backyard gym.
Yeah, quite probably, yeah.
Getting in and out of town's not the easiest endeavor.
Yeah, very likely. All right, well, I don't think we need to go any further on that one. Up next at 125 pounds, Mohamed Mokaev versus Manel Cap. Do you want to take us away on this one, Austin? As Lazy did the last one.
Yeah, I'll do this one. I hate to say the thing because this is a thing that has been whispered about, where, there are two things that are going to go against this one right off the bat. This fight in general, the fraud check thing has been, being said a lot, and a lot of it is being said by people who tend to like to think that, like a guy like Muhammad Mokaev is going to get fraud checked here. This is a fight that's going to be a tough fight regardless, and just like his last fight, he had to gut through a lot more as of late as well, especially against ranked opponents. And he's not just running over people and just kind of surviving. He's literally going after them, gassing, and then having to struggle to just get to the final bell. And that's usually not a good sign for most prospects. That usually means like, oh, your plan A isn't working and your plan B is barely doing the job. You really don't have a plan C or the ability to adapt and survive. You just have two modes, and that's it. That's the only implement that you can do. Whereas Manel Cape, he might not even make the fight.
Yeah.
He's the king of missing weight or getting injured or getting hurt and sick and possibly blowing the weight. And that's like, again, those are the two things going out against this fight. My first indication would be if they both make weight and they both are in the fight, Mokaev should dominate the wrestling right off the bat. He's not the better striker whatsoever, but he's going to gas because that's what he's done. He doesn't really manage his gas tank well. And Manel Cape manages to manage it better, but he tends to kind of get stuck in these back and forth brawls, as you would say. And he can get caught up in just kind of like having a tough fight. He doesn't really change his game plan either. He just kind of goes after you and just swings some things, And if he catches you, he catches you. But he's also a pretty tough son of a bitch. Mokaev has been chin checked once or twice, but not to the extent of what Manel Cape can give him, So I'm going to have to favor the wrestler on this one, but this one's a close fight on paper, I think, for me. And the only reason why I say that is because Manel Cape has just not been able to go there, and at least Mokaev has been competing,
Yeah. Lazy?
Oh, yeah. Well, first off, bad blood alert. A duo of frisky flyweights ready to throw down in Manchester here. For those that don't know, these two really don't like each other, to the point that apparently they got into it at the PI, where Kopp opened Mokaev up with a well-placed elbow. This is the rumor that's swirling around the MMA media sphere. I've heard it talked about on some of the dirt sheets, as Chael Sonnen would say, but not in the cage, not in a practice, in an actual off-the-record dust-up. So props to Mokaev for not snitching on that, but there's definitely going to be some emotions running hot going into this fight. I don't know who that's going to favor or if that's going to tip the scales in any one direction, but certainly something to keep your eye on. These guys do have a history and it's some bad blood, so this one could get dicey, especially with Kopp being a hothead the way he is. This is going to be a pretty fun one, and I think it's going to make for an interesting affair. Like Austin was saying, Kopp, he's a bit of a wild man. He kind of swings crazy, but he does have tons of fucking power. Real knockout streak on him. Mikhaev has been clipped before, so there is that oddball chance that what's his name, Starboy, could go in there and put one on Mikhaev, but I'm not so sure. Muhammad is still just 23 years old. Kopp, of course, coming in at 30 and with a fair amount more experience to go along with that age difference. I've tried several times to, enact a scenario in my mind where Manel could manage to pull this one out, but realistically, I don't think that he's going to be the one to take Mikhaev's O. The backpacking, the smothering pressure, I can't see a world in which Starboy can shrug off the Punisher. Hell, I'm not even sure, like No Special said, Kopp can even beat the scale. So, yeah, give me Muhammad Mikhaev in this one, especially with the home field advantage. And I'm going to go ahead and go out on a limb here, and I'm going to even say by a third-round submission.
Ooh. I wasn't even that confident.
I think it will go late because I think there's going to be a lot of Mikhaev getting it into grappling scenarios and doing a lot of control-based stuff. But I think by that third, Kopp himself is going to have gassed out, and I think the submission is going to present itself.
Yeah. I'm kind of waiting to see Manel Kopp challenge Tom Aspinall at the press conference because that's the kind of shit he does. And if he does, that'd look like.
To be fair, it was Izzy. It was Izzy who was kind of speaking.
Yeah, that's also very true. Yeah, and also very fair. Yeah.
Izzy. I mean, when a much bigger man is in front of him, it's not like Tony Ferguson, Fabricio Verdum, right? It's Manel Kopp and Tom Aspinall. Let's just see what happens. Also, Curtis Blaydes doesn't take shit either.
Also true. Yeah. On this one, Muhammad Mikhaev, I'm going to pick him. That's not going to be a big decision for me to make. As you said, it could very easily go to a decision when, which you'd probably take 2 rounds to 1. As you said, Kopp has the advantage most likely in striking. Although I think last time Mikhaev fought, he had improved somewhat in his stand-up. So hopefully he's been working on that in between his last fight and this one.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, most likely a decision, or as Lazy said, it could very well be a submission for Mikhaev. He's wrestling and jiu-jitsu is obviously much better than Kopp's, or I believe it certainly is. He does have six submissions on his record, which, by the way, he's on a 35 fight win streak at the moment. So
Nice.
how sick is that? Obviously, that's including his amateur record as well. So yeah,
Still.
yeah, still a ridiculous number.
Yeah.
So yeah, again, like I said, a late submission or most likely a points win for Mikhaev for me on this one as well. I don't really have much more to say about him. The guy's extremely good. We know he is, and as Lazy said, Kopp is getting old a bit. He's not quite hitting that seriously old age yet, but 30 years old. I guess technically speaking, he's in his prime, but I don't think it's going to help him in this one.
Yeah. Just one more thing to add in as I'm glancing at some of the statistics here. Manel Kopp has been finished just twice in his career. Both of those times he was finished were by submission, so it doesn't bode well.
Yeah, you are correct. Just checking. I don't know. I haven't got time to look at what kind of submissions they were, but we might as well jump on to the next one then, if there's nothing else to say on that one. This one, another one that has a possibility of being a very lively one at the press conference. We have Paddy Pimblett, Scousers don't get knocked out, or sorcerers as
he's a sorcerer. He's a sorcerer, bro.
Yeah, as my favorite neck tattooed fighter said. Versus Bobby Green. Versus King Green. He's no longer Bobby King Green. He's just King Green because he changed his name legally, which is, I don't know. That's either an absolute gangster move or a complete, I don't know what the hell it is, a moron's move. Take your pick on that one. Don't get me wrong. I would never call Green a moron to his face because I like where my teeth are at the moment. I don't want them on the floor.
Yes.
Yeah.
He is the same guy. He is the same guy who left his roof window of his car open and $60,000 in cash.
Oh,
in his
really?
car.
I hadn't heard that one.
That was a thing. That was a thing.
Oh my
Yep.
god. I wish I'd been nearby for that.
Yeah.
Especially in the States, because I'd have been straight on the next plane back home.
Yeah.
I could jump in on this one if you guys want.
Yeah, fire away, yeah.
All right. Well, first off, lightweight tussle time. I got to start off with a tagline every time. Yeah. The man, as Danger just said, formerly known as Bobby, now and forevermore, King Green. And of course, the guy who went the distance with Tony Ferguson's cadaver. That's Paddy Pimblett. And that is a common opponent there shared between the two of them.
Yeah.
One got to finish, one saw the cards. That might tell you, if MMA math says anything, that might tell you something. But that being said, let's break this down and look at some of the paths to victory here. It seems to me, if you're King Green, you got one real shot, and that's to keep the fight on the feet. He's always had a fairly good ground game, but I can't see that being the route of least resistance for old King Green. By that same token, I think Paddy's primary objective has got to be to get this thing to the mat. Green doesn't have the most ridiculous one-punch power, but he's fast as a motherfucker, and especially for his age, and he's very unorthodox with the striking, as everyone knows. The hands-down technique, the no-look stuff, Bobby Green is not the easiest guy to pin down if you're in there throwing them things with him. And as we know, Paddy hangs his chin up in the air. So, I don't like his chances if it does stay a boxing match. But realistically, I see Pimblett getting the fight to the ground fairly early. I don't think there's going to be much struggle from Bobby. He's not notoriously the best takedown defense guy. So, yeah, I think my pick here is probably going to be Paddy the Batty, but I do think it's going to be a hard-fought decision. Usually Paddy, if he does get a finish, he takes a beating beforehand. So there is the possibility that, he could secure some kind of submission, but I would lean more towards a pretty tough, hard-fought decision victory.
Austin?
You know what? I'm gonna have to go against you guys on this one. I'm gonna go with King Green.
I haven't said who I'm picking yet, Austin. You're
I'm just
presuming
gonna
things
assume
there,
you-
sir.
I am definitely assuming. We've been agreeing a lot, and I don't like it. No, here's my thing. Looking at their past opponents and their performances, King, formerly known as Bobby, Green, essentially was just kind of like hit and miss on some of his fights. He's barely beaten Tony Ferguson, and then he just mops the floor with who was the lightweight he just fought not too long ago?
Jim Miller or Grant Dawson?
Grant Dawson would be the one I was thinking of because think about that fight. His lightning speed comes into play against a high level grappler who's just this hard nosed wrestler, loves to just stay on top of position and just never let him even get started. Right. Then he fights Jalen Turner. Now, Jalen Turner had more things going against him than King Green did. He had to make weight. I think it was shorter notice for him, right? Basically just gets the wood put to him and just gets bludgeoned nearly to death where we're screaming at our televisions for the ref to stop it and nothing happens, right? Then he comes back and just kind of handles Jim Miller. it was one-sided. Miller was in the fight, but never actually winning the fight. And then you're looking at this matchup, and it's against a prospect who has never looked that great inside the UFC. He's had moments of just being better, but he's not the guy that I would think he should have been coming into the UFC. But at the same time, he struggles with vets like this. This has been the thing that he's had to kind of work through. He should be walking through guys like this. I'm imagining King Green's going to basically show up, bop him in the face, and just put him on the back foot, and that's going to be the worst thing that's going to happen to him. And then if he tries to grapple, King Green is able to grapple. It's not like he's Jalen Turner was able to get him to move backwards and still land because he's also a giant human being for lightweight. That's not the case with this fight. Yes, his opponent Pimlet is a lot larger than most lightweights, but
especially
he
after
gasses.
the fight, yeah.
Oh yeah, no, he tends to blow up like a balloon, literally and figuratively. But I just foresee more issues coming from this fight for Paddy Pimblett himself. Problems he's not going to be able to solve or be able to counter. And I'm looking at it as if he's not gonna. It's gonna look like you know, a true vet fighting a newcomer. And I'm just gonna take a decision on that one. I don't know if there's gonna be a finish or not.
Ooh, I thought you would have picked a finish if you were going to pick Bobby, to be honest.
I mean, we've seen him take people to decision, and he can kind of just continue to keep that pace.
Yeah, this is the one fight I would probably have the most difficulty picking because I could easily see Paddy losing this one to Bobby Green. I'm going to call him Bobby. I don't care if he's changing his name right now. I'm going the Paddy Pimblett route on this one.
Gotcha. Yep. Yep.
But so yeah, I could easily see Paddy losing it, but again, I could easily see him winning it. We've got Bobby Green, who's 37 years old now, and again, we're back on that age star, and that really is getting on. And there's always a time when these guys they suddenly hit that wall, and that you never exactly know when they're going to hit that wall. His chin could be gone. I know he stood up well to Jim Miller, but Paddy can crack a little bit, and he obviously can take a punch as well. We have the other thing that Paddy's got behind him. He's just become a father, just a few months ago, 6-7 months ago, how long it was, and that is something that may well inspire him to be better than he has been before, or it could take that killer instinct out of him. We never actually know with fighters when they actually have a child, and suddenly they've got something more to work for than they had before.
That's a good point.
Yeah, I mean, obviously he had his career to work for before, but he now has a parent. He got twins. He only wanted one kid, and he got a bonus one delivered. So he has that financial weight on his shoulders. And the other thing also, this is his last fight with the UFC. He hasn't signed a contract yet, as far as I'm aware. So if he wants to make good money on his next fight, he's going to have to put a good performance in against Bobby Green. And I think that's what might push him to being more excellent than he has been before in his previous fights. So yeah, I'm going to take Paddy Pimblett, and I think it will most likely go decision, but it would not overly surprise me if he did manage to get a submission, maybe in the second round. So either a second round submission or a third round decision for Paddy Pimblett for me on this one.
If one last thing I want to throw in here, just real quick, is
fire away. Yeah, we've got plenty of time.
If you are a betting person and you are just throwing a couple bucks down this, or you're looking for some shots, some underdog bets or whatever, I wouldn't overlook putting just a couple of dollars on Paddy Pimblett by knockout, actually, because although he is far from being a polished striker, Paddy does hit pretty hard for a lightweight. And Bobby, of the times that he has been finished in his career, he's been finished far more by KO TKO than he has been by submission. So, yeah, I mean, and with his way of taunting and kind of trying to lure his opponents in. And there's always that off chance that Paddy could sling something in there and catch his chin. It's possible.
Yeah. What the over under is on Bobby Green being called either a mushroom or a sausage by Paddy before the fight conference is over. It should be very low because that's going to happen. That must be peculiar to that area of the country because I've never heard anyone in Yorkshire call someone a sausage or a mushroom, maybe that. But that's generally meant, kept in the dark and fed bullshit rather than any other method. All right, let's go to the next one then. The fight that I am really looking forward to, the UFC Interim Heavyweight Championship between Tom Aspinall and Curtis Blaydes. Second time these two have fought. Obviously, we had the first one where Tom's knee, I think it was MCL, gave way within 15 seconds of the fight, and he collapsed to the floor, screaming in agony. It's a loss on his career, but we all know it's not a proper loss. In effect, he wasn't beaten by Blaydes. He was beaten by his own body. I think I put it on the same kind of rank as you put John Jones losing which I always forget which mat it was that he lost to due to the 12-6 elbow strikes, and then being disqualified. So I've put it on that same kind of scale. It's a loss, but it doesn't really count in my eyes. I know Thomas said, it's on paper. He lost. Fair enough. Let's get on with the next fight. And I think that's exactly what Tom's going to do with this one. I did hear the Barnhill brothers doing their review of what was going to happen in this fight. And Nick, yes, I'm calling you out, Nick, if you happen to listen to us. He was saying that he thought Tom would be a bit nervous about throwing out a kick because of how he hurt his leg last time. And I pointed out that the first thing he did against Marcin Tybura was slam a kick into him to test that leg. And it was the first thing he did against Pavlovich as well. I think the first strike he hit him with was the calf kick. And I can easily see that being how Tom's going to start this fight off as well. It does seem to be something he does quite often. So, yeah, sorry, I just mentioned John Jones there, who is, of course, ducking Tom desperately trying to grab a fight with Poatan after he's fought Stipe, which hopefully will never happen.
I hope both of them retire and never fight.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, but yeah, John the chicken, yeah, or the duck as he's been also called. So yeah, this one is no surprise that I'm picking Tom in this one. I think he's going to get this one done inside a round, keep up his record that he has been doing. I did watch some Blaydes footage today and see how he got his finishes, and almost all of them were against lower opponents who he was able to come in, swing a few punches at, force them back to the cage, then dive in for a takedown, and then his wrestling was obviously much better than the guys that I saw him beat today. And they just, once he'd hit them, they were kind of ducking back against the cage, covering up, and that's not something Tom does. Tom's got movement. He likes to dance in and out. He's brilliant at cutting angles. So that's exactly what I think he's going to do, much like he did with Pavlovich. Land a calf kick or two, and I think he'll cut an angle, line Curtis up, hit him with a right or a left, and that'll be the beginning of the end. He probably won't knock him out clean with a single punch, but as we saw with Pavlovich, once he hits you once and he's got you on spaghetti legs, that's it. It's game over for you. It's good night time. So I don't think he'll perhaps get it done quite as quickly as he did with Pavlovich, but I can see him getting it done inside the first round. So yeah, that's my prediction for this fight. First round KO/TKO for Tom Aspinall.
We need those hip hop horns.
Oh, that'd be like typical for Aspinall to get a first round finish, right?
Well, his average fight time, I think, is 2 minutes 19 seconds.
Yeah, I could see it.
Ah, fuck, guys. This one right here. This one right fucking here. Heavyweight fights ain't what they used to be, fellas. But have no fear, the big boys are fucking here. Barring another fluke injury, I think we got ourselves the first legit heavyweight action of 2024 with this one. Now, here's where things get a little dicey. Tom Aspinall is clearly the future of this division. I think that's pretty obvious to everybody. He's big, he's tall, he's fast, well versed in all fields. Maybe as complete a heavyweight as we've seen ever in the heavyweight division. You could possibly argue. That's a bold claim. What's that?
Said I would not argue.
Yeah. I mean, some people might say it's a bold claim, but I think it's a point you could argue. Curtis Blaydes, on the other hand, he is a divisional staple. He's obviously a standout wrestler. He's likely the best all-around grappler amongst big men in the UFC. As I'm sure we've been over by now, there's not a whole lot you can take from their first meeting, but it did happen, and technically, if you want to go by the records, it's a W for Curtis. So, is what it is. There, you got to move on past that. Much like I think Tom has and did fairly quickly after that first encounter. Now, maybe you can't say it was a good. Or excuse me, I think you can say it was a good gauge of their sizes and physicality in the cage. But outside of that, there wasn't a lot of tells in fight number one. Now let's look at the records objectively here. Aspinall is 14-3. Two of those three losses coming under bizarre circumstances. One due to a DQ for a 12-6 elbow. Yeah. The other being the knee injury, of course, versus Blaydes in fight one. His only legit loss comes via a heel hook to a Stuart Austin in 2015. And that was his fourth professional MMA fight. So, again, early on in his career, not exactly a loss that you can take a whole lot away from. Blaydes sits with an 18-4 record. His four losses, those are to Francis Ngannou twice, Derek Lewis, and Sergey Pavlovich. Sensing a theme here? Heavy fucking nuclear level hitters. Now, does Aspinall fall into that ilk of just atomic bomb punchers? I'm not sure yet. But if he is slightly deficient in the power category, and that's a big but, because we don't know, he more than makes up for it with his hand speed. Blaydes most certainly has the ability to make this a long night at the office for Tom if he can get into some grappling scenarios. But can he actually get the fight there? There's so many fucking buts. That's the question. That is the crux here. So, what a fucking fight, guys. Gun, a lot of sighing on Lazybed's part because I'm stalling and I don't want to make a pick. But you put a fucking gun to my head, forced to make a selection, going off even just the feels and the vibes. I gotta give this one to Tommy. It really it feels like all the cards and all the stars are aligning to fucking give this man another victory and get him to his fucking ultimate goal, which is the actual true heavyweight fucking championship of the world. Which a lot of us think he already is, but just to get him that official fucking title. So I shared a dream that I had with you guys the other day on the Discord, so I got to stick with my premonition. Yep, give me Tommy Aspinall, just like DangerMouse said, first round fucking knockout.
Oh, nice.
Tommy Aspinall.
Tommy Aspinall. Tommy Aspinall.
Tommy Aspinall.
Let's see what you got to say.
All right.
After the show is over or not?
That's right. Let's see. The 8 years in the UFC for our boy Curtis Blaydes. He started in 2016, right? And guess who his first fight was? It was, wait for it, Francis Ngannou, right?
Yeah.
His first introductory fight, right? And that one was stopped via doctor stoppage because he swelling on his eye was just ridiculous. He would only then lose to Francis Ngannou again after that, and then he had a draw at Milstead. I mean, he has Mark Hunt, Alistair Overeem, Shamil Abdurrahmanov. I can't. No, not that one.
Some Russian guy.
Okay. Yeah. He's got JDS. He's got Volkov. And even now Almeida, right? He's junior Jairzinho Rosenstruck as well. I mean, like he's got a murderer's row of names. He's just never been able to get to the dance, right? The big show. Fight for the title. He's gotten opportunities to fight as a number one contender. He's gotten opportunities to get close to the title itself, but like they've given opportunities to last minute with Tom Aspinall, which wasn't necessarily by choice. It was more circumstance kind of thing. And then you also had the situation with Gon, where they just kind of sprung an interim title because they didn't like what Francis was, asking for an additional month of time. And it's like this whole thing for me is just both of these men are good. Both of these men are in their primes now. And it sucks that they have to fight each other because what this should be is for the undisputed title. Like, there's no reason why we should have a guy who's been retired pretty much for the last 3 years, going on 4 years, and hasn't won in almost 4, more or less, coming back for the title and telling everybody, stop complaining, stop bitching. This is the fight everyone wants to see. No, we don't. No, we don't. As Jed Meshews once said, we can fucking complain about it because we don't want to fucking see it. Why are we having you guys fight for the undisputed title? Because these guys are the actual undisputed fighters here. John's only fought once, and is because Gon tripped backwards, falling into this fucking fence, and got submitted. That was it. That was John Jones' heavyweight career. What's funny about that is that John Jones could have been fighting the minute he left light heavyweight. He didn't even need to really bulk on weight or even be a heavyweight. He could have just been a light heavyweight who was just not cutting weight like Jailton Almeida was, and pretty much running through the division. Yet for some reason we had to hold out. He had to act like he was, becoming a heavyweight. And then by the time he actually did fight, he was out. He was basically waiting for Gon to leave, or I'm sorry, Francis Ngannou to leave, so that he can actually take the one fight that he was ever going to take. And he's probably not going to fight anybody else again. So what I am praying to the MMA gods for is for John Jones to actually get injured, pull out of the fight again. Stipe retiring because fuck Stipe at this point. I said it. I don't give a shit. Fuck Stipe. I don't care if he's friends with Damon Marmon in Ohio. I don't give a shit. Lazy. I'm sorry. No, fuck that guy. He's like, oh, it's not my fault. It's the UFC wants to do it. No, fuck you. You're complicit, just like GSP was when Michael Bisping was holding up the goddamn division when he had 6 goddamn contenders ready to fight him. What did they do? They cannibalized the contenders. They cannibalizing the contenders down heavyweight because the UFC doesn't give a shit. God.
One thing, let me just interject real quick. The preceding views were those of No Special and not those of the Just Bleed Radio podcast. Continue.
Well, John has cut his finger, apparently, hasn't he, at the airport? Or so he tweeted, and then deleted it.
I hope he loses his goddamn finger, just so he doesn't fight. All right. Neither here nor there.
We're going to need a counter for that saying.
Yeah, I know. He's gonna come in with a soldered finger, right? My heart honestly wants to go with Curtis Blaydes because I feel like that dude has been beaten back so many times, and he's just been that guy that the UFC is just willing to overlook every single time. Whereas Aspinall, it's like the guy kind of came up almost like inexplicably just able to take on whatever the UFC was able to throw at him. The one time he did it was an injury to Curtis Blaydes. And even then, it was more of a circumstance kind of thing. Like Mouse was saying, it was more of his body literally gave up on him. And that's it is what it is. That happens in sports sometimes, Nothing you can say about that. And that wasn't a true version of a fight. And I want Curtis Blaydes to have his moment. I just don't think he has enough to be able to overtake Tom Aspinall. They're pretty similar. Great striking, great ground game, big men who are young and athletic, and that's hard to find in heavyweight these days. I have to side with Tom Aspinall just because of the momentum this guy has. Although the UFC is doing everything in its power to basically stifle the man and stifle the rest of this division for one fucking fight that nobody asked for.
Yeah.
So I have to go with Tom Aspinall.
Oh, good. We can talk again after the show.
Okay.
All right, onto the main event of the card, which, as I've already said, it's not really my main event, and I suspect it won't be many other people's as well, because of the UFC welterweight championship between Leon Edwards and Bilal Muhammad 2 again against the rematch after Leon tried to poke Bilal's eye out last time.
Son of a bitch.
I'll let one of you two start with this one. I have already said that this is the fight that I might not stay up for. And I swear now, if Tom happens to get knocked out by Blaydes, I can easily see me going to bed afterwards and not staying up for this one.
Oh, Jesus.
My heart would be broken.
You know what? I'll say this. This is the first time remind me, because I can't. Yeah, Bilal Muhammad has a Palestinian lineage, correct? He was not born in Palestine, but he's of Palestine descent, right? Palestinian descent.
Oh yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so that being said, I might just have to go with Bilal Muhammad just because he's been that forgotten man. Literally, the name is don't remember the name, and nobody could give a shit. I mean, Larry's out in the chats, literally spamming anti-Bilal Muhammad, campaigns, memes and shit all the time. And I mean, majority, it's a joke. It's a joke among the most MMA fans. Remember the name? Oh, who is that again?
Yeah.
But I feel like this is one of those stories where this guy who's going to be 35 and that stat is going to hit in this fight, right?
Oh yeah.
This is going to be the one that is going to be that rarity where it's going to work with against the champion, because I think Bilal Muhammad is going to push the pressure on Leon Edwards, and I think he's going to get a decision. I just foresee that being the case. And now you're going to tell me I'm crazy, and you're probably going to be like, "Why? There's no way he's not."
One thing I will tell you, Austin, to save Daz Riccio dead wrong in you, he'll be 36 by the time the fight starts. In fact,
okay, so that is full. It is full effect.
7 days ago, yeah, so 5 days ago. Sorry.
Okay, so yeah, and that's the thing is Leon is still in his early 30s. So my whole thing is Bilal's been shoring up his striking. He's not going to get a knockout. That's not what's going to happen. He's going to push up against him, similar to what he did to Wonder Boy, similar to what he's done against most of his other striking opponents. He's just going to get in their face. He's going to put on a pace that's just, we saw Leon struggle with some of the wrestling and grappling that, the cage grappling of Usman, right? And Usman wasn't even even at home, he was pushing up against the fence, and Leon was able to kind of shore up some of that defense after the first fight. But he was still kind of getting bullied around in some aspects. Yes, Leon was able to kind of counter them, but this isn't the same kind of guy. Plus, Usman isn't the same kind of grappler. Bilal Muhammad literally just is the same kind of guy. He's just adding a little bit more to his repertoire. I believe that he's going to catch Leon slipping and taking the opportunity to circle around the fence, just not landing nearly as much. I mean, we thought he was going to bludgeon Colby Covington, and that's not even what happened. He was just surgically accurate, sitting on the edge of the fence. And even then, that was because Colby was, riding the fence the entire time. He didn't really press the action.
Wouldn't step forward and engage. That's part of the problem that Leon had.
That's the thing, is that when Leon leads the dance, he doesn't leave too many openings. And when he's not, he's still against the fence. That Leon doesn't give a whole lot of offense either. My problem is that Leon's going to be looking for surgical strikes against a guy who's going to make a fight ugly. When he's having an ugly fight, he struggles. And it's not because he's not able to keep up with the fight. His dynamic changes. I think he's just going to be playing catch up after giving too many rounds away. I think that's going to be the problem. But that's why I'm saying it's going to be, close decision, ugly fight. Bilal Muhammad snags it. Palestine's, first actual champion. I it's wild, but I know I'm probably gonna get a lot of hate for him. But it's gonna be a close fight. I don't foresee it being one-way traffic.
If the fight was in Birmingham, we'd have a lot more supporters, I suspect, but maybe not so much in Manchester.
No, possibly.
Lazy,
Oh, you want me to go now? All right.
you ready?
Time for the official JBR stan of Anakin Florian to go. I think we know where this is headed.
No shit.
Yeah. Here's where we upset the mouse.
Oh no.
No,
Well-
you two can both pick Bilal for all I care. I'll just laugh at you the day after.
Oh, fair enough. Like DangerMouse mentioned in the little introduction here, we got our second rematch of the night. This one with the welterweight strap hanging in the balance. God willing, nobody takes a finger to the eye. Inshallah. But yeah, you got the reigning champ here, Leon Rocky Edwards versus my man Bully B Bilal Muhammad. Both guys with damn near identical records coming in. Strong strength of schedules for both of them. Just genuine battle of the top guys in their weight classes. It's sort of similar to the co-main event. I mean, what can you say about these win streaks on both of them? Like, they're fucking phenomenal. Like, this is clearly the two guys that should be facing off for the title. Whether one's a champion or not, it's just they're the top dudes in their division at this moment. So yeah, all the bullshit and all the UFC politics aside, we're finally here and it's finally going down, and I'm fucking fired up. The layout of this fight, it seems pretty clear to me. Bilal is going to want to get it to the clinch and down to the ground, most likely. Leon is going to want to keep it on the feet and stay standing. That seems pretty obvious, right? Now, that doesn't mean both guys won't dabble in each other's realms, even if it's just only for the sake of mixing things up. But I do think we'll see two pretty distinct game plans in this fight. To further on that point, I think that a lot of casual fans and bettors are overlooking how far both these fighters have come in the areas that were once their weak spots. Edwards has spent his last like half a dozen fights preparing for wrestlers. His defensive grappling has improved by heaps and bounds. He even now has like offensive wrestling skills of his own. He took down Usman. I mean, come on.
Yeah. Well, just to point something out, it was something I said to someone else. It might have been on a Discord or maybe on YouTube. I don't know. Leon has always trained at a mixed martial arts gym. It's not like he started off as a kickboxer and came into the sport. He
Right.
literally the first gym his mother took him to was a mixed martial arts gym. So from
Yeah.
day one in his career, he has sparred, done striking, done jiu-jitsu, done wrestling.
Yeah, he gets a ton of focus on the kickboxing because he's so damn good at it. Like, people forget that he is a mixed martial artist, and he, especially now more than ever, like, his grappling and wrestling game has improved by leaps and bounds.
Oh, yeah.
So, and as I was saying, he even has offensive wrestling skills of his own. So don't sleep on him in that department. And I'll say too that despite the reputation, Bilal himself has continued to progress and grow in his deficiencies. You compare his stand-up to where it was even just a few years ago, and it's a whole different fucking ballgame, including the TKO of Sean Brady, who everyone was fucking riding Sean Brady's nuts. So I do think that Edwards is going to come out, and I think, I think that Edwards is going to immediately come out and shoot like a blast double, or Muhammad is going to score some sort of like a question mark kick KO? No, but I do think that they'll vary their attacks in this fight. I think it's going to be more of a mixed martial arts affair than people are anticipating. So how do I think this thing unfolds? Well, I'm pretty fucking torn, guys. On one hand, I love Bilal. You know, he's a good person and he's a good fucking role model for kids. He's a workhorse in the gym, stands up for his beliefs and his values. On the other hand, I love Leon. He's a no-nonsense guy. He's got great work ethic, doesn't want the spotlight. He puts his head down and he fucking grinds. That's what you want in a fucking champion. Bully B is super talented at what he does, but Rocky has built an entire repertoire around defeating those exact talents. It's also hard to see a world where Leon loses in England. However, we're not talking about your average man here. This isn't some fly-by-night contender. Bilal Muhammad is as legit of a title threat as the welterweight division has ever seen. And while I remember the first fight, and I remember what Leon did to Kamaru, I also remember the name. Give me Bilal Muhammad by the most unanimous of decisions.
Wow.
Let's go.
Okay, I'd better go and stand my corner then, hadn't I? We've already discussed it. As I've just said, Leon has the background of a mixed martial artist. He's not just a striker. He's very good at wrestling. I believe his jiu-jitsu is pretty decent as well. I'd have to check his record, see how many wins he's got via submission. I don't know off the top of my head, if any. Bilal Muhammad, 36 years old. No one over 35 has ever, apart from, and his name's fleeing my head now, Tyron Woodley. He's the only guy who's had two wins at being 35 years or older at 170. And I don't
in
think
a title
Bilal
fight.
in a title fight, yeah. I don't think Bilal is that guy. I don't think his striking will have improved enough to match Leon's. His wrestling,
No, probably not.
Probably might be a touch better than Leon's. He has been training up with the Dagestanis, I believe, for the last 6 months, a year, however long it's been. So I'm sure his wrestling has improved, but I don't think it's going to have improved enough to take Leon down and hold him down for a long time. I don't know if you've seen the photo of Leon Edwards. There was a photo published of him, how he's looking at the moment. He looks like he's carved out of teak at the moment. He's got that entire Edson Barboza, sheer musculature. There's been people suggesting maybe he's been on the juice. I don't think so with Leon Edwards. I think he's just genetically gifted. He's always had that kind of amazing physique. So I think Leon's going to do a champions fight. I think he's going to try and keep it at range. Bilal will try and close distance, but I think he's going to get picked off as he tries to come in, which is exactly why Colby started, wouldn't come in, because there's always an uppercut, a knee, an elbow. There's something waiting for you when you try and step into range with Leon. So I can see Leon's going to get this one done. I'm not sure it'll be a stoppage. I doubt it very much, in all fairness. I think Leon gets it done 49-46. There's a vague chance it could go 48-47. Bilal could snatch 2 rounds from this fight, but Leon gets it done. Sunday, I'm going to wake up and I'm going to be happy, because England will still have 2, or Britain will still have two champions in the UFC. So fuck you both. Actually, I'm not going to say that, because you're just going to both make me look good on this one. That's fantastic.
In my defense, I selected every other English fighter on the card, I think so.
Yeah, we've actually been tied up very much on this card. Austin went for Bobby Green and we didn't. And then you both picked Bilal Muhammad. Other than that, we've all picked the same fighters, I believe. No one picked Blaydes, did they, in the end?
I mean, you can't. These two fights are, they're the best fighters in their divisions currently, other than, let's say, Shafkat, the other man out of this conversation.
Who Leon did volunteer to fight, by the way, don't forget.
No, and that's the thing. It's like they actively try to get Leon to fight anybody else other than Bilal Muhammad, which is just insane to me, because it's like, what's the point of having goddamn rankings if we're just going to subserve them? Because reasons.
And Jones again with that, aren't we? So yeah.
Exactly, I know. That's the whole because also fuck Colby, he's a coward. So that's why he didn't want to engage, because he didn't want to get embarrassed because he's a coward piece of shit. Anywho, no, yeah, I mean you can't go wrong with any of the decisions because honestly, I foresee a lot of different aspects of this fight coming to fruition, and like we've all discussed, these are the best that we can offer for each of the divisions, and
Yeah.
the two champions, and Tom Aspinall is a real champion, and Leon is a legit champion, a good guy. He's a man that you would want to root for regardless. He's that guy, and it sucks because these are kind of it sucks when you got good guys and good fighters fighting each other at weird times in their careers because you don't want either of them to lose, and England's definitely going to be able to have the ability to keep both of their champions, but I can foresee a situation where both of them lose. It's just, it's close. It's close. It's close on paper and in all aspects, I think.
But before we get out of here, Danger Mouse, what would you say is the most popular beer in Manchester?
Oh, in Manchester.
In Manchester.
Well, the classic one that would be linked to Manchester is Boddington's, and I'll have to dig up an advert from that will be on the internet somewhere. I'll give it to Dave so he can maybe cut in it being played over here. It was Melanie Sykes, who I don't think she's made it in big in America, but she's pretty well known in the UK. And she did an advertising campaign for Boddington's. Other than that, I wouldn't know, to be honest. Most of the good beers are brewed up in Yorkshire, so.
If you think that's strong, Chuck, try lifting one of these. Hey, Tarquil, your trolleys aren't right way round.
New Manchester Gold from Boddington's.
Well, I might have to see if I can find me a 6-pack of Boddington's.
Boddington's, yeah. Yellow can. Oh, that's what it used to be served in last time. It's not a bad beer. It's a bit light. It's not a heavy beer by any means. It's a nice session beer, I would say.
Well, yeah, good.
Not one that Austin can drink 4 cans of and get amazingly drunk of in 10 minutes.
That's probably a good thing for me.
It's no 9% per bottle or anything like that.
Not approaching Austin levels of.
No, that's what I say. All right, just a quick one then before we move on. What's the fight you're both most looking forward to? You can include the prelims if you want to.
Oh, I forgot to take a look at this. There's actually some good ones on here. I mean, I gotta say, this is a pretty fucking stacked card.
Yep.
I ain't mad about it. Austin, do you got one off the top of your head?
Yeah, Nathaniel Wood, Daniel Pineda. That one's either going to be a banger or it's just going to be Nathaniel Wood beating the living shit out of Daniel Pineda.
I think I'm gonna go with it's actually looking like the first fight of the night. Christian Leroy Duncan versus RoboCop Gregory Rodriguez. I actually shouted out old CLD on one of our previous episodes. I think he was like my fight of the night or whatever in his last fight. So yeah.
Hang on, is that fight on?
Yeah. Previously, he was scheduled to face Robert Burchik, but it's been rescheduled to be it's CLD versus RoboCop now.
Okay, I don't see it on the version of the card I'm looking at, but I shall.
ESPN has it.
Yeah. Okay. I thought you might have gone for O'Ban Elliott, Lazy.
That was going to be my other choice.
From the Valleys.
Yeah, and he is a hell of a fun fighter. And if you've seen any, I actually recommend anybody that wants to get to know O'Ban Elliott a little bit more, go back and watch his interview on the MMA Hour with Ariel Helwani a couple months ago. Mm-hmm. Opened up about some of his story and got pretty emotional during the interview. So shout out O'Ban Elliott.
I've already pretty much said what my favorite fight is. It's going to be Tom Aspinall versus Curtis Blaydes. Hopefully it'll be the shortest fight of the night. Yeah. And probably the one I'm least looking forward to might be Molly McCann versus Bruno Brazil, just because Molly doesn't tend to be that exciting a fighter. So, sorry, Molly.
The meatball.
Yeah, the meatballs. Yeah.
Yeah.
I shan't try and drag that out of you two. You haven't volunteered anything, so.
Oh, the worst fight. If I had to pick one, the one I'm looking least forward to, probably the Modestas Bukauskas and Marcin Prachnio fight. I don't really Yeah, I don't really care about either one of those guys.
Yeah, that was gonna be my pick. Two light heavyweights who are not exactly high rollers.
Yeah. No, I don't got any real feeling or stakes when it comes to either one of them.
Nah.
It's a super easy card for me to pick because I'm just going to pick British or English fighters for the entire card. So that's easy. It's so easy. I might even throw a few bucks on it. You never know. What a hell of
At least
a
you're allowed to bet on
accumulator
it.
that could be. I missed that, Austin. Sorry.
No, I was gonna say at least you're allowed to bet on it.
Oh yeah. Sorry, yeah. I forgot you're in the land of the free, but not when it comes to betting.
Restricted.
Restricted. I've told you, move east. You could, if you're in New Jersey, you could bet.
No, I like it too much over here, even if my state is on fire.
All right. Okay, that's it from us. If you've made it this far, thank you for listening to the show. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave us a comment. And we will see you, I believe, we will be back for next week's UFC Verna Jandarova versus Amanda Lemos, another fun-filled female fight-headed UFC card.
Is that one in the Apex?
I'm not sure. It would make sense.
It would have to be in the Apex. Otherwise, what are we doing here?
What are we doing here either way?
Yeah.
I mean, we are. Yep, it's the Apex. God damn it. Okay. Just the structure of the card is incredible.
All right, let's get the fuck out of here then. Make noise if you want to.
Later, everybody. Have a good one. We'll see.
Ciao, bambinos.
Hey, Lazy. Where do you keep your AC at in your house, Lazy?
I have central air.
Yeah, what do you keep your temp at?
Oh, what do I keep it? Usually not too low. Like about 71.
It's too hot.
71 is too hot. 68 or bust. Let's go, Dave Sandine. Dave Sandine.
Сука, блять, буду вечно повторять. Оп, давай, опять. Сука, блять, буду вечно повторять.